Bonjour à tous. Are you struggling with forming simple sentences in the French language? Or perhaps you want to talk about what you did just yesterday and you do not even know how to say this. What I realized when I started learning the French language is I didn't focus on learning the French ER verbs first of all. I was focused on so many other aspects and realized that I use these verbs every day when speaking. And so in today's awesome lesson, I'm taking it back to the basics. Today, we're going to take a look at the French ER verbs in the present tense, the past tense, and the future tense. Vous êtes prêts? C'est parti! Before we get started, if you would like to have a free PDF guide of what you're taught today, all you need to do is input your name and email address in the link in the description box below, and today's lesson will be sent directly to your inbox. Hier, j'ai regardé un film fascinant. J'ai mangé une pizza délicieuse. Aujourd'hui, je vais parler avec mes amis. Demain, nous voyagerons en France. Je suis très excitée. Now, in that quick text, do you know which tenses are used? You probably are like, okay, Sumo, I think I can pick up this. I think you're not sure. But after you're done with today's lesson, you are going to know how to conjugate ER verbs, not only in the present tense, but in the past tense and in the future tense, okay? So grab a pen and paper, grab maybe coffee, or depending where you are, if you want to make iced tea, grab a drink and sit down and let's get started. Let us get started with the present tense. Regular ER verbs are super duper easy to conjugate. They follow a pattern, which is why they are called regular ER verbs. In the French language, we have three groups. The first group are called ER verbs, regular verbs. The second group, IR verbs, regular verbs. And the third group, irregular verbs. So you have OIR, RE. You even have an ER verb there, you have an IR, okay? But in today's lesson, we're only focusing on the first group, which are ER verbs. Now, take a look at this table that I put up for you. For ER verbs, you take the infinitive form and remove the ER. When I say infinitive, I mean a verb that has not been touched. So let's look at three examples in the English language. In the English language, I would say to walk, right? To eat, okay? And to dance. So for instance, I would say, I am walking, I walk, right? You see that's conjugated the same way. I am walking, she is walking, he is walking, they are walking, we are walking. I am eating, she is eating. It follows the same pattern. So in the French language, it's the same thing. ER verbs follow the same pattern in the present tense. Okay, we're looking at only present tense for now. We're going to look at past tense and future afterwards. Now, take a look at this table. You can see we have all the subject pronouns listed. We have I, you, she, he, they, we, you, and they, okay? Now, for each verb, remember we looked at what? I walk, I am walking. I eat, I am eating. I dance, I am dancing. In the French language, I cannot say I am walking. I am in French is je suis, but I would never say je suis marché. It does not exist. Instead, I would say je marche. And you might ask, Sumo, why is that? Because I just said I am walking. I know, but in French, it does not, there's no ing. I wouldn't say I am walking in French. I would say I walk, I eat, I talk, I speak, I dance, I sing. In English, yes, you would say I am singing, I am dancing, I am eating, I am walking. There is no ing in the French language. That's why we do not say I am dancing. I just say I dance. With that being said, the conjugation in English, like I said, we have ing. For French, it's different. For je, you have i. For tu, you have es. For il and elle and on, you have i. For nous, you have ons. For vous, you have ez. And for il and elle, you have ent. Okay? Do you get it? These are the endings in every single ER verb you come across, except the French language changes tomorrow. It's always going to be the same. This is why they are called regular verbs, okay? The good thing is the French language consists of about 70% ER verbs, so you're very lucky. So 70% of these verbs are all ER, which means they all follow the same pattern. Now, take a quick look at these verbs I'm going to show you. We're going to conjugate the verbs chanter, aimer, and manger. Remember the first table we looked at? Don't forget the endings. So you can see here we have je chante, tu chantes, il, elle chante, nous chantons, vous chantez, il, elle chante. Please note for the plural version, we don't say ils chantent. Nah. When you're writing, it's the only way you know the difference. So it's pronounced the same way as the singular form, il chante. The plural form is the same pronunciation, elle chante. The only difference is when you're writing, you put the E-N-T. Let's look at the next verb. We have j'aime. Please note it's not je aime. This is just a table. The correct spelling is j'aime. J'-A-I-M-E. And this is because it's a vowel. So je and m cannot go together because they are both vowels. Instead, we would have J'-A-I-M-E. So we have j'aime, tu aimes, il aime, nous aimons, vous aimez, ils aiment, elles aiment. Je mange, tu manges, il ou elle mange, nous mangions, vous mangez, il, elle mange. So these are how you conjugate any ER verb you can think of in the world. Let me give you 5 examples. If I want to say to speak, parler, you conjugate it the same way. Je parle, tu parles, and so forth. If I want to say danser, the same thing. Je danse, tu danses. If I want to conjugate écouter, to listen, j'écoute, tu écoutes, and so forth. Marcher, je marche, tu marches, okay? And the last verb, and if I wanted to conjugate travailler, to work, je travaille, tu travailles, il travaille, and so forth. So anywhere you see an ER verb, now you know how to conjugate it in the present tense, okay? They all follow the same pattern. You can pause the video and go back if you're not quite sure, if you don't remember the endings. It's okay if you don't learn it in one day. Just take your time. It will get better. So you can pause, go back and watch it, and we can continue. But now we're going to look at sample sentences using some of these verbs we just spoke about. So I can say, je mange une pomme. Je mange une pomme. Nous aimons voyager. Nous aimons voyager. Elle chante très bien. Elle chante très bien. J'aime les fleurs rouges. J'aime les fleurs rouges. Nous mangeons des crêpes pour le petit déjeuner. Nous mangeons des crêpes pour le petit déjeuner. Les enfants aiment jouer dehors. Les enfants aiment jouer dehors. So you see, these are different sentences, and you can form any sentence in the world as long as you know how to conjugate the ER verb in the present tense. Please take note once again, the French ER verbs are regular. We've only looked at the present tense. These are the conjugations for only the present tense. Okay, you got it? Perfect. Now let's move on to how to conjugate French ER verbs in le passé composé, in the past tense. Now let us explore le passé composé. This is perfect for talking about completed actions. So in the present tense, what did we do? We just learned about how to conjugate ER verbs in the present. The present does what? You're talking about the present. I am eating, I am singing, I am talking, I am speaking. Okay? Now the past tense is good. I spoke, I ate, I walked, I danced yesterday, I sang at the choir yesterday. Okay, in the choir, excuse me. English is even confusing sometimes, but basically you understand where I'm coming from. Now, to form le passé composé for ER verbs, we use the auxiliary verb avoir and the past participle. So you have to know how to conjugate avoir first of all. So let us conjugate avoir. So for the verb avoir in le présent, we have j'ai, tu as, il a, elle a, nous avons, vous avez, ils ont, elles ont. That is how to conjugate avoir in the present tense. Now, when you want to form le passé composé, what do? Let's take a look at this table I have right here. You have parler, which means to speak. You take away the ER and you add the E, just an E with the accent aigu. That's all. So you then have j'ai parlé. Easy. Tu as parlé. Il ou elle a parlé. Nous avons parlé. Vous avez parlé. Ils ont parlé. Elles ont parlé. That is all. So once you know how to conjugate avoir, first of all, in the present tense, That's all you need. Every other thing follows. So there's nothing like, it doesn't become je parlerai, or no, nothing like that. Parler stays the same. You just need to remember to add the accent on the E. And what do you have next? Je, tu, as, all the conjugations for le verb avoir in the present tense. Okay? It's really important you know this. That is the only way to conjugate le passé composé in ER verbs. Let's take a look at more samples. So if we're going to conjugate, remember these are the same verbs we conjugated in the beginning. We conjugated them for the present tense, okay? Now, we're conjugating them for the past tense, le passé composé. It will be what? J'ai chanté. Tu as chanté. Il ou elle a chanté. Nous avons chanté. Vous avez chanté. Ils ou elles ont chanté. The next one we have aimer, to love. J'ai aimé. Tu as aimé. Il ou elle a aimé. Nous avons aimé. Vous avez aimé. Ils ont aimé ou elles ont aimé. Okay? And finally, we have manger. J'ai mangé. Tu as mangé. Il ou elle a mangé. Nous avons mangé. Vous avez mangé. Ils ont mangé. Elles ont mangé. And this is the only way to conjugate ER verbs in le passé composé. Okay, and be specific. We've looked at the present tense. Remember the endings? And now we have looked at le passé composé. Let's see them in action. So let me put them in sample sentences for you to see how they actually look. Nous avons regardé un film ensemble. Nous avons aimé le film. Nous avons aimé le film. Ils ont mangé tous les gâteaux. Ils ont mangé tous les gâteaux. Avez-vous chanté avec votre groupe préféré? Elle a adoré son voyage en Italie. Nous avons mangé au restaurant hier soir. J'ai mangé une glace après le dîner. Elle a mangé un sandwich pour le déjeuner. Alright, so you see that I have used each of these verbs in le passé composé, and now you can equally go ahead and form your own sentences with them. It's really important. That's how you learn. Make a sentence, choose one of these verbs. You could decide to choose danser and write down every day. Maybe I am dancing. I was dancing, that I danced. Okay? And then obviously I will dance. So what we're going to do now, we're going to take a look at the future tense. You see, you have learned so much. I told you that this video is the only video you're going to ever need to know how to conjugate ER verbs and start speaking French today. After this, you're actually going to start speaking like, oh my goodness, someone has given me the path. Someone has showed me how to start speaking. Now I can actually say, I am speaking French. It's that easy. Let's look at the future tense together. This tense is for actions that would happen in the future. We've looked at actions that would happen in the present, actions that happened in the past, and now actions that will happen in the future. I will speak. I will eat. I will dance. Now for the future tense, it's so easy. And I'm also going to give you a tip, and this tip works. You're never going to forget. Remember, we just conjugated the verb avoir. Do you remember the endings? These are the endings. Now for the future tense is the exact same. But in this instance, we do not remove anything. Let me explain further. We're going to use the verb chanter. It's spelled C-H-A-N-T-E-R. Good? You leave it that way, and all you do, you add AI. Not artificial intelligence, please. You add the endings. So the same endings that you have for avoir, j'ai, tu as. Remember, j'ai is what AI. That's it. You just slap it onto the back. So there's no removal. You just add in. That's what makes the future tense. So let's take a look at this table to see what I mean in action. So can you see the endings? So we have je. Look at the ending. AI. Tu as. Il a. Nous. ONS. Vous. IZ. Il. Elle. ONT. These are the exact same endings like what I showed you for the verb avoir when you're conjugating avoir in the present tense. Okay, so do you see how easy it is? With that tip, you can never forget it. Once you know, okay, this is how I'm going to conjugate a verb in the future tense, and this is avoir, that's all you need. Once again, we're only taking a look at ER verbs. Please be careful. We're looking at only group one ER verbs. We've looked at the present, the past, and now the future. Let me show you more samples, okay? So take a look at this table. What do we have here? Chanter, aimer, manger. So it becomes what? Je chanterai. Tu chanteras. Il ou elle chantera. Nous chanterons. Vous chanterez. Ils, elles chanteront. Okay? The next one, aimer, to love. We say j'aimerais. Tu aimeras. Il ou elle aimera. Nous aimerons. Vous aimerez. Ils, elles aimeront. And the last one, manger. Je mangerai. Tu mangeras. Il ou elle mangera. Nous mangerons. Vous mangerez. Ils, elles mangeront. Okay, so you see, once again, think of any ER verb in the world. I actually have a video on 50 ER verbs that have already been conjugated for you. So what you can do is click on this video above and just pick each verb a day and form a sentence. Take one verb, form a sentence in the present, past, and the future. That's all. And watch yourself get better in just 1 week. I promise you it works. Let's look at sample sentences. Je mangerai de la glace demain. Je chanterai à la fête de fin d'année. Nous mangerons à 19h. J'aimerais faire du ski cet hiver. Vous chanterez à l'église dimanche. Elle mangera une salade pour le déjeuner. All right. I'm so happy because I know you definitely understood everything I said in today's lesson. Let's quickly summarize. The present tense uses endings like e, ese, and so forth. Passé composé combines avoir and the past participle e with the accent aigu on top. Don't forget, not just a normal e avec l'accent aigu. And for the beautiful future tense, you keep the infinitive form and you add the endings of avoir. That's our little secret, okay? You add the endings of avoir and you're able to master them. And now, for the moment you've been waiting for, let us take a look at a French quiz. And now it's your turn. Let me see how much you've learned. I'll give you some sentences and you have to conjugate them correctly in either present, past, or future tense. Vous êtes prêts? Let's go. Number 1. Demain, nous. Avec nos amis. So conjugate the verb parler in the future tense. What's the answer? Exactly. Demain, nous parlerons avec nos amis. Number 2. Hier, il. Un film intéressant. Conjugate the verb in bracket to le passé composé. Perfect. Hier, ils ont regardé un film intéressant. Number 3. Tu. Tous les jours cette semaine. Conjugate the word in brackets to le présent in the present tense. Exactly. Tu travailles tous les jours cette semaine. Number 4. La semaine prochaine, je. En France. Conjugate this verb to the future tense. Perfect. La semaine prochaine, je voyagerai en Espagne. And number 5. Elle. De la musique hier soir. Conjugate the verb to le passé composé. Perfect. Elle a écouté de la musique hier soir. Let me know in the comment section below how many you got. You have done a fantastic job. By just being here and taking action and trying to understand, you're well on your way to mastering ER verbs in the present tense, the past tense, and the future tense. If you would like to take it a step further, like, okay, Sumo, thank you so much for this video, but I really want to learn more, I have a special French verb groups course. This is a 20-day verb challenge. In 21 days, you'll be able to master the verb tenses in the present, the past, and the future tense, and not just for ER verbs, for ER verbs, for IR verbs, and for irregular verbs. You also have bonuses like understanding subject pronouns, understanding futur proche, and I equally give you movies. The best part, you have lifetime access to this course. That's the sweetest deal ever. All you need to do to join that course today, right now, click the link in the description box below and join. You get lifetime access to this video. You have over 150 exercises that you can practice over and over again. The lessons are equally in story format, so you get to understand when you read them. Like, okay, I get why Sumo used the past tense here. Okay, I get why Sumo used the present tense here. In just 21 days, that is just 3 weeks, you get to master the French verb groups. That's, like I said, the ER verbs, IR verbs and those pesky little irregular verbs. If you love today's video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps this channel. Subscribe to watch more lessons like this, and most importantly, do not gatekeep. Share with your friends so that they can equally understand the French ER verbs and start speaking today. If all you do is you take action from what you've learned today, I promise you, your speaking is going to get better. Start speaking today. I am going to see you in the next lesson where I break down the French second group, which is what? The IR verbs. Until I see you in that lesson, bonne journée.